Can I talk a little bit about the weight class thing that I just mentioned though? Because I really want to talk about this.
I'll stop talking about it.
Okay, yeah. I had this epiphany a while back that I see constantly like people wanting to cut weight. They want to cut weight class because they see, you and I just talked about this. They see these numbers in this lower weight class and they're like, I can hit these numbers. I could do it. I could drop 20 pounds and I could be in that weight class and I could win everything.
True.
And if we're talking about a world championship or getting an American record or whatever your nation record is, like all this stuff, that is
different.
That's different. But if you're beginner to intermediate,
even some of the advanced,
I think that what's happening is there's this like want it now mentality versus saying, if I just eat appropriately, I'm not talking about gaining weight. I'm talking about eating appropriately and just getting strong and focusing a year on just eating right, getting strong, dialing everything in. You could stay in your weight class or even move up a weight class and probably crush it. But
that doesn't make money. You know that, right?
But yeah.
Cutting makes money.
Yeah.
Bulking makes money because cutting makes money. And then bulking makes money because cutting makes money.
Don't get me started.
It's this horrible cycle.
But I think that a lot of female strength athletes are unaware of how much strength they could actually put on in a solid year if they just dialed in their nutrition and ate enough. Like, I'm talking about maintaining your current body weight. I'm not talking about a bulk, which is totally different. I'm talking about your body composition is probably going to change, but staying where you're at and just eating and training and having the confidence and belief in yourself to know that you can be competitive in your weight class if you just put in the work. And I think that this like constant like cutting culture and wanting to be in a lower weight class and all this, I did it to myself. I decided I needed to, I had dropped some body weight because I had too much body fat. I was in an unhealthy body fat category. I dropped some body fat and then ended up, this is when weightlifting, the weight classes were 69 and 63. And so I fell naturally at about 65 kilos is kind of where I ended up and was comfortable there. And I thought, well, shit. 65 kilos, let's go to 63 because look at what those 63 girls are lifting. I can crush them.
Yeah. And then?
And do you know what happened? I just read, I think, an Instagram post from a long time ago that I made about this. In the first year of my just only focusing on weightlifting, because I came into weightlifting from CrossFit, I only put 11 kilos on my total. Because I was cutting weight the entire time. 11 kilos my first year. I should have had massive beginner gains.
Yeah.
I put 11 kilos on my total. That is pathetic. That is, and you saw me, you knew me then. I worked my ass off day in and day out. I had everything dialed in, but I was in a caloric deficit. And so instead of putting on what maybe I could have put 25 kilos on my total and stayed 69, I put 11 kilos on my total and stayed at 60 and lifted as a 63. And I will never do that again.
No, there's no point.
It's stupid.
Well, but coming from like my perspective, I remember when I first started dieting, I was 16, 15, and I had never had a positive affirmation about like my body. I would only have had negative based on how I looked or what I've heard other people say or what my family said. And when I started running like a crazy person and cutting calories without knowing what I was doing, the first positive affirmation I had was all of a sudden boys were interested in me. And then I just, in my brain, I made that connection at 15. I said, my value is I only have value when I'm small.
Yeah.
I didn't have value when I'm big. Or I wasn't even that big. I remember this other girl too, bless her heart, she didn't know what she was saying. I remember talking about my weight to her, and she was like, yeah, I don't think anyone needs to weigh over 130. And I was like, I weigh 140. She goes, no way. And I was like, oh my God, is that too big?
Oh my gosh.
And it was so, I'm sitting right now at 145 and I'm like the happiest, the healthiest, except for my hip, that I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I feel my value. But back then, man, nothing, my performance didn't matter, my strength didn't matter, because I didn't know these things. The only value I had was that all of a sudden boys were noticing me. That was my positive affirmation.
Right.
And that carried me on until I was 24.
Well, and I've said that numerous times. I think that our culture places way too much emphasis on what we look like.
Yep.
Way too much emphasis on appearance, and fitting a certain mold. And I think that is a really challenging thing, especially to learn that at such a young age. Like when you know how you were treated before,
yeah,
and then
ignored.
you see how you see how you're treated when you lose a little bit of weight, and you think, oh well, that's it. I must have to be small.
Yeah, that's the only way I'm going to have value in this world is if I'm small.
Yeah.
And that fucked me up, fam. Fucked me up for a long time.